I've been, I've never seen the church grow without trust, without brothers and sisters trusting each other.
That's why it's time. You know, it takes time to heal. And at least by openly discussing it, though, don't you think we're really building that trust now that it's out there?
Yeah.
It's not just a big white elephant in the room that we're not going to address. No, we're going to talk about it as a family should, and understand who also the players are, good and bad. We also need to we need to know our part. We need to know our role. We need to know also everyone else's role and what they do. So I mean, this is the beginning, but I think we're in the right direction. This is not a waste of time to me. This is more important than any Sunday service, because if we don't build the goodwill within just all of us who've been burned so many times, if we lose the ability to trust just one more time, all is lost. There's no hope. Because the reason why children build up a deep-seated resentment towards their parents is and all of us are included, if your life is all about go to school, do your homework, brush your teeth, do the dishes, clean up for yourself, if it's all about form, if it's all about what you need to do, and I'm saying that that's not important, that's very important, but if there's no substance, if there's no presence, if there's no connection between you and your child, the child will feel unloved, and the child will feel neglected, and it'll build up an anger and a resentment. And it'll develop a Cain-type personality. Because the path that I am walking is I'm trying to protect them. Cynical people will say, "What are you doing with the church?" I just tell them, I'm working on the vibe. Because if people don't understand that I honor that more than anything else, our church will be just another factory that we throw people into and that gets spit out at the end. That's what I've witnessed, and that's what I don't want. But if there's no presence involved, there's no grace. And it'll just be more work to do. There will always be more work to do. There will always be one more thing we need to do. But if we miss the essence, then all our work will be for nothing. But if we lose the essence of who we are and the goodwill that we just shared, and if we let other people come in and smash it before our eyes, we'll do nothing to protect each other. And then the people that we bring in will feel it. And they won't feel that safety and security that they need. Father, the principal, all of our teachings, what I shared last week, all the content and everything that we have in abundance, all that will be for nothing if we don't honor. If we don't honor that within all of us. So that has to be first, but everything else are just details.
That some of us, a handful of us, are ready to get the flyers and run out the door. You know,
Yeah.
It's in our nature. But we concluded that many members are getting spiritually encouraged and enlightened with these meetings through Kwanjin, mere presence, and that we can't run with the ball like get everybody in like sergeants or in soldiers, get them in line, because if their heart's not ready. So I want you to know we discussed that.
Good, thank you.
We have
That's
to go
very
A,
important.
A, B, and C, but also, I've been here 2.5 years and we've never gathered like this, right?
Right.
We've never shared or even looked at each other other than Sunday service. So a lot of people here aren't ready to get that flyer and run out, and I don't expect you to. But if you want me to go with you sometime, call me, okay? I'll be happy to go with you. But I think that just becoming brothers and sisters is very important.
And so, I mean, I've been in Korea for the past year,
and I've really been witnessing full time. And I'm just teaching English just enough to support myself to get by, just so I can buy more divine principles and autobiographies. But I'm really just trying to change the way they view our church and to tell them about who True Father is and how much some members really love him so much, and they can't understand why when we're not blood related. And he's Asian, I'm in Korea. And it's like they miss that. They don't have parents. And even if they love their parents, they don't love their parents to the degree they want to. You know, the way that they could if they had perfect parents. And so we're being very selfish by not sharing that, but also we have to really love true parents ourselves. Because people will see that. You can tell that immediately. If you're really loving true parents, everything will come automatically. If something's missing in the church, you'll do it automatically. You don't need someone to tell you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, because that is exactly the sentiment that we all have. Emerald, she encapsulates everything that we feel. And what we're dealing with here is something that I know very well, is that I am, well, all of us are. We have a Western kind of a heart, where we share her sentiment, but then we're also in an Eastern movement, where it's all about structure and doing, and that's how you're graded. And it can't be one or the other. But if we don't have the understanding with what the able-type people have, if we don't understand and honor each other and absolutely know what she's going through, you know, then we will lose all the essence. But having said that, as able-type people, since our Father has passed, in order to embrace and naturally subjugate Cain, we have to be good at his rules. We have to be champions in the fields. And that's all about structure and hierarchy, and it's a very top-down vertical structure. I don't like it. I'm an American. I don't like it at all. But that's my family. It's very top-down. And unfortunately, my own parents were constricted by that verticalness. And the verticalness, it's very unfeeling, and it can be very uncaring. So I think as people, we need to be able to work in that environment where we can at least succeed in the vertical structure, maintain that, but soften it by who we are, so that we never crush somebody like this, that we never send somebody like this into the machine. The Koreans need to learn as well. And that is what brother and sisterhood is. Is that we can all be brothers and sisters, we can all live in a vertical structure, we can make it strong, strengthen the spine, so to speak. But how we educate each other is with that heart. And if we don't listen, then we will never be able to understand. Or even if she is unable to listen, at least we will understand where she's coming from. And at least by labeling it with that, there's no personal offense. Do you understand? And ultimately, that's how we will envelop harder people than us. Because we all come in different shapes and sizes. We all have our own individual softness and hardness. But, you know, as a great teacher taught her students, Stella Adler was one of the greatest teachers in the world. And her students, everyone stood on line and waitlist just to be part of her class, because they've never felt so much love from loving, sensitive, open, vulnerable people. And everyone just wanted to be part of the class, not to learn what she had to teach them, which was a lot, but just to be part of that group, and just to feel that sort of acceptance. And nobody there really had an axe to grind or an agenda or other things that they need to do. But then she also knew that when she sent her students out into the world, they would be judged, critiqued, torn apart by critics. And so she taught them, you must maintain your heart of a rose, but you must build the skin of a rhinoceros. So she has the heart of a rose. That is an able type mentality. That is an able type that within all of us that we need to honor and cherish. But we also need to build that thicker skin, so that if we're confronted by somebody who has less consciousness than she exhibited, we can absorb that. And we don't have to make her our enemy. We can work with. and ultimately she will suffer.
At least amongst ourselves, we can keep our hearts open. We can be aware of the structure, but we don't have to close our heart in order to attend this.
Yeah.
The point is, there has to be room for both, and I think that's, yes, she's just doing her job. There's a lot of sentiment that goes with just doing your job, but there's also doing your job really well.
Yeah.
And if you're disconnected with what we're dealing with, which is what the essence of this is, you're just doing a job. You're not a true craftsman doing it with excellence. And I think ultimately that is a personal lesson that we all know, but we have to encourage within all of us. That part needs to be cherished as well. But I think if we all agree that there are also other parts of us that we need to work on, I think that's important too, because that allows the beginning of personal strength. And as leaders, we want to exhibit all of that as much as we can so that the people that we meet feel healed just by us being there.
Because I appreciate what you're talking about, because I think if we can combine both, we'll be the most inclusive group. Everybody here can feel, I want to bring people to this family.
Yeah.
But honestly, if we're going to be honest, I don't feel like bringing anybody to the old Las Vegas church. I have plenty of people I can bring to this church. But I just can't bring myself to do that to someone. And it may sound harsh for some people to hear this, because I know we have great people around this table. We have great people who could become the greatest leaders in our church sitting at this table. But we're not there yet.
It's a process.
Yeah.
And that's the most beautiful thing about acknowledging it's a process. If we all acknowledge that there's work to be done about it, then we can all support each other as we're doing it. And not be so critical when we fuck up. Because we will always do that. But if we acknowledge that as part of the process, and if other people see that, it'll never reach the state of perfection. Perfection is a vanity. But at least if other people see that we're fighting to maintain what is lost in the outside world, which is that, people would want to be part of that. People want to give their lives for that. Do you have any idea how lonely people are out there? You know.
Yes.
They don't feel they don't even get to share in their homes to their own brothers and sisters what we just shared right now. That's why I had to point it out, and that's also why I have to point it out when it changed. And I think if we continuously do that, and we reinforce that stronger nature that all of us want to express to each other, only then it'll be the process become easier. It's like we're putting a big scratch in the old record that we wanted to play. And it's just so boring, we've all heard it. If we put enough scratches into it, it won't play anymore. So it is the delicate flower that the Buddha talks about that smashes the steel. It is that delicate thing that we have all felt that will eventually crush all of the hardness that people walk into in their daily lives every day. And it begins in this meeting. So I think this is one of the best meetings we've ever had.
Hug each other, next each other, get over.
Yeah. Yes, please.
You know, since we're all going to be open by now,
Yes.
I really want to pour my heart as well. Because, I really can feel everybody's heart. Because like them, I've been here since 2007 and I've seen the changes. And so far, really, this is the best night. Because I have never seen any meeting like this. Many times we tried, but what I noticed, believe me, I said a lot of things about personal issue. I have respect, but there's a lot of things that I cannot agree with. And then when you start speaking, you are the bad guy.
Yeah.
So that's really, you guys know me. I've been here, I went through a lot too, but finally it's like, wow, finally somebody is here
Good to hear.
that feels really Father's heart and can speak. It's like you are giving us the freedom now to speak.
Wow.
Because
That's sad. Lorna, you're absolutely right, but isn't that sad that somehow I need to give you permission to be true beings?
I mean, I
Isn't
speak
that
up
sad?
a lot of times, but I became the bad guy.
It's the way it's always been. We need
You
a
know.
father.
I've been misunderstood many times, I've been accused many times, and I hear it directly. But you know what? It's like, this is me. I speak up for myself. I don't need permission from anybody to speak up, And if you don't like me, fine, kick me out, but this is my Las Vegas. I took ownership of Las Vegas. Many times I have my tears as well. I have my, I cannot speak up like this. I mean, many times we have a meeting, but nobody speak up as truthful as tonight.
And nobody
Yeah,
listened.
thank you.
Nobody listens.
That's the point,
You
is
know.
that the reason why I wanted this in a circle is because the cast of characters, not me, is that none of us would have been able to experience it if all of us didn't listen. It wasn't me. It was we. And so, because of that, that is the beginning. I'm telling you, this is the new paradigm of our church, and this will be the new paradigm for the rest of the world. This is what will keep people pouring into Las Vegas, because they will never experience this love, no matter how beautiful of a setting that they live in currently. Because it doesn't matter. If they don't have this, they will never be able to heal or feel accepted. So listen, we all feel that need to defend ourselves and protect me. But at least here, we put that down, we leave that outside, and it's all about we. And then whatever we need to do, the particulars we need to do, getting there on time, doing this, adding this, all those details that are ultimately irrelevant, then they'll be addressed, as long as we have that